Welcome to BeABossDad.com. My name is Joel Haasenritter, and I help high-achieving dads scale their business without failing their family. In this video, I want to share with you a framework around the seasons of change. It's a system to help you lead both in the valley and on the mountain, so you can be the leader your business needs and the father your family deserves. Let me share with you something that has shifted my perspective completely. And if you're sitting in the valley right now, financially stressed, relationally exhausted, feeling like you're failing at business and at home, I need you to hear this. This season will not last forever. And if you're on the mountain right now, revenue's up, family's healthy, everything is clicking, I also need you to hear this. This season will not last forever either. Here's what no one tells you when you're grinding to build a business and raise a family. Change is the only constant. Seasons will shift. The question isn't if they change, it's how you'll show up when they do. Here's the truth that I learned along the way is that in crisis, gratitude is the way you come through on top. In opportunity, humility is the way you don't fall off the mountain. 10 years ago, our family went through a series of health crises. I was running a thriving business, raising 3 kids along with my wife, and myself, I was barely holding it together. Going through bouts of depression and anxiety, that was kind of the norm, even though I wouldn't ever let it show. So we took a leap of faith, we left everything, we moved across the country and had to rebuild from scratch. This is what the crisis taught me. How you navigate the valleys determines whether you grow or whether you break. And how you navigate the peaks determines whether you sustain success or lose everything that matters. So let's start with what we all know but rarely accept. Life operates in seasons. Your business has seasons. Your family has seasons. You have seasons, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And just like the weather, these seasons are inevitable. They will come. They are temporary. They will pass. And they are purposeful. They exist for a reason. But here's where most high-achieving dads get stuck. We treat life like it's supposed to be a permanent summer. Constant growth, constant green, constant sun, increased ROI all the time. And when winter inevitably comes, a business downturn, a family crisis, a personal health scare, we panic. We think maybe something's wrong with us. But what if I told you that the valley isn't a failure? What if the valley is actually preparation for the mountain? Think about farming for a minute. You don't plant in summer. You plant in the cold, dark soil of late winter and early spring. The seed has to die underground before it grows. The valley is where the root systems develop. And on the flip side, the mountain isn't permanent either. If you're at the peak right now enjoying the view, there's a gravitational pull that most people ignore. Success has a way of making us sloppy. We stop doing the fundamentals. We get cocky. We neglect the people who matter most because they'll understand I'm crushing it right now. And that's how you lose it all. So here's the framework that I want to give you. Seasons change for 2 primary reasons. They change, number 1, for crisis, the valley. And number 2, they change for opportunity, and that's the mountain. And your job as a boss dad, a balanced owner, strategic shepherd, is to master both. You need to know how to lead in the valley and how to lead on the mountain, because your family and your business are watching how you show up in both places. Let's talk about the valley first, because if you're watching this right now and you're in it, you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, you feel trapped between the demands of your business and the needs of your family. I want you to know this. This is where champions are made. The valley is where your character gets forged. The valley is where you decide who you are going to be. And the only way to navigate the valley without losing your mind, your marriage, or your mission is in gratitude. And I know what you're thinking. I'm drowning. How am I supposed to be grateful? This is a fair question because it's hard. And there are seasons that absolutely just suck. There are seasons that suck and there's no way around it. You have to go through them. But let's reframe that for a minute. Gratitude in crisis isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about shifting your perspective so you can see the opportunities inside the challenge. Let me give you a personal example. When our family had a health crisis, I was terrified. I didn't know how we'd make it. We left my thriving piano business, we left our support system, we left our family, and we moved to Arizona. 2 weeks before we moved out here, I got the notice that the job I thought I had lined up decided to go with someone else. The home that we were trying to sell, the buyer's financing fell through. And so we owned a home we weren't living in. And at that point, I didn't have a job, no safety net, and 3 kids looking to me for stability. That was my valley. But here's what gratitude taught me in that season. I couldn't control the crisis, but I could control my response. So I started asking different questions. Our brains are amazing answer solving devices, if you will. And so better questions always leads to better outcomes. The questions: what is this season teaching me? What skills am I developing because of this pressure? And who am I becoming through this fire? And here's actually what I found. Crisis clarifies. Crisis strips away everything that doesn't matter. All the noise, all the distractions, all the busy work you've been hiding behind. Crisis forces you to focus on what's essential: your health, your family, and your purpose. So here's the first pillar of the Seasons of Change framework. In the valley, practice gratitude as a survival strategy. Not because it's fluffy, not because it's nice, but because gratitude rewires your brain to see solutions instead of just problems. So let's make that actionable for a minute. If you're in the valley right now, here are 3 daily practices that will change your life. Practice number 1, the morning gratitude audit. Every morning before you check your phone, before you dive into email, before the chaos of the day starts, write down 3 things that you are grateful for in this season. Not generic stuff, not I'm grateful for my family, although you are. I mean very specific gratitude tied to the crisis. I'm grateful this downturn is teaching me to cut waste in my business, for instance. I'm grateful this stress is forcing me to finally prioritize my health. I'm grateful my kids are seeing me push through this instead of quit. This isn't toxic positivity. This is strategic framing. You're training your brain to hunt for the gift inside of the struggle. Practice number 2 is the perspective question. When stress hits, when you're about to snap at your kids, when you're spiraling over a lost client, just pause and ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Most of the things stealing your peace right now won't even be a memory in 5 years. Gratitude gives you that perspective. It pulls you out of the emotional tornado and reminds you this is temporary and it will pass. And practice number 3 is what I call the CEO to dad transition firewall. I will do a deeper dive on this probably in the next video. But it's where you take a minute, you pause, you rewire your brain, you dump all the things that are consuming your thoughts. You reset your physiology, reset your mindset, and you decide on your identity before you walk through the door. It's a powerful practice that will absolutely change the dynamics of your home. It'll change the culture of everything that you do in your home. Because in the valley, when you're in the valley, your family doesn't need your stress. They need your presence. And that type of a ritual ensures that you don't bring the crisis through the door with you. You actually bring them into your calm. When I was going through that valley and I was looking for jobs, trying to keep the stability of our home going, my kids were looking at me going, what's happening? I had clients calling me asking literally if I was still alive because I wasn't returning phone calls. And what I didn't do well then that I know now how to do would be to ask those grateful questions, to journal for gratitude. I'm grateful we have a roof over our heads. I'm grateful my kids are healthy. I'm grateful this pressure is teaching me resilience. And if you do, it might take time, but slowly the fog will lift. You'll start to see the opportunities that you couldn't see when you were panicking. I eventually found work, we stabilized, and more importantly, I became a better father because I learned to separate my stress from my presence. This isn't an overnight thing that'll just happen. This took me years and years, and I failed and failed at it time and time again. But in the moments of the valley, in those seasons of suck, this practice will absolutely shift your perspective and allow you to see the opportunities in that crisis that you would not have otherwise seen. That is the power of gratitude. It doesn't remove the valley, but it gives you the strength to climb out of it. So let's flip the script. What if you're not in the valley right now? What if you're winning? Business is up, family's thriving, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. Here's the question that no one asks when they're on top. How do I stay here? Because the truth is that most people lose their success not because of crisis, but because of complacency. You get comfortable, you stop doing the fundamentals, you start believing your own hype, and before you know it, you're sliding down the mountain and you don't even realize it until you're halfway down. This is where humility becomes your survival tool. Humility in opportunity isn't about thinking less of yourself. It's about staying grounded when gravity wants to pull you off the peak. So let's break this down. When you're on the mountain, 3 things are very typical to happen. You start to coast, number 1. You stop doing the hard things that got you there. You think, I've made it, so I can relax now. I've finally arrived. Newsflash, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. The second thing that happens is you start to isolate. Success makes you feel invincible. You stop asking for help. You stop seeking mentors. You stop listening to feedback. And number 3, you start to neglect what matters most. Your family gets the leftovers of your time and energy because, they understand I'm building something here. And that is how you lose it all. So here's the second pillar of the Seasons of Change framework. On the mountain, practice humility as a protection strategy. There's 3 daily practices that will help to keep you from falling. Practice number 1 is the weekly audit of what got me here. Every Sunday or once a week, ask yourself, what are the 3 core habits that built this success? Am I still doing them consistently? What's one thing that I've started coasting on that I need to recommit to? Do that weekly, and that'll help to keep you honest, because the moment you stop doing the fundamentals is the moment you start to slide. Practice number 2 is the humility circle. Who in your life has permission to tell you the truth? Who can call you out when you're getting arrogant or sloppy or distracted? If you don't have at least 2 people who can do this, one is probably your spouse, another a mentor, or a very close friend who will actually be honest with you. If you don't have that, then you're in danger. Surround yourself with people who love you enough to keep you humble. And practice number 3 is the family ROI check. Here's the question that will save your family. What's my best KPI, my key performance indicator? Success means nothing if your kids don't light up when you walk through the door. Humility means remembering that your family is your greatest legacy, not your revenue, not your title, not your LinkedIn profile. So every week, just ask yourself, how many hours of undivided attention did I give my family this week? Did I lead with presence or with stress? What's one 10-minute connection I can prioritize this week with my kids or my spouse? That is humility in action. It's saying, I'm winning at business, but I refuse to lose at home. Getting vulnerable here, a few years ago, I was grinding away at building something, at working, at doing all the things. I thought I was crushing it. My business was growing. I was coaching, I was speaking, I was building, and I told myself, my family knows I'm doing this for them. They'll understand. And that is one of the biggest traps that I see dads fall into, is they neglect the family and make the excuse that because they're building something for them, they'll understand that it's okay that they're not there. And that's wrong. It's just not true. I didn't see that my wife was lonely. My kids were getting the worst of me, the tired, distracted, irritable version of dad. And I was missing it because I had tunnel vision on the future success, on what I was trying to do, even the impact that my business was having. And one night my daughter said to me, Dad, you're always busy. And that hit me like a truck. I realized I was winning at business, but I was losing at home. And that's the time to implement the humility practice. Start by auditing your calendar. Start by asking your wife, how am I doing as a husband this week? I started protecting evenings like they were the most important meetings of my life, because they are. And here's what humility taught me. The mountain is a gift, but it's also a test. And the test is, can you stay on top without losing your soul? That's why humility matters. Because success without humility is just a countdown to failure. So now you have the two pillars for gratitude in crisis and humility in opportunity. But the real power comes when you integrate them. You become unstoppable when you marry those two things. So let me show you how this works. This is the seasons of change cycle. When you're in the valley, practice gratitude, build resilience, clarity, and roots. When you're climbing, stay humble, stay hungry, stay connected. When you're on top of the mountain, practice humility, protect your success, protect your family. And if you're on the descent, prepare for the next valley with wisdom, not panic. Most people live reactively. They panic in the valley and they coast on the mountain. But a boss dad, a balanced owner, strategic shepherd, lives proactively. You prepare for the seasons before they come. Here's an action plan for you, a simple 7-day plan to start implementing this framework today. On day 1 or 2, identify your current season. Ask yourself, am I in the valley? Am I on the climb? Am I on the mountain? Or am I descending? Write down 3 specific indicators of the season that you're going through right now. For day 3 and 4, choose your practice. If you're in the valley, start the morning gratitude audit. If you're on the mountain, start the weekly humility audit. Day 5, implement the CEO to Dad transition firewall. Practice a 5-minute reset before you walk through the door. Reset your physiology, reset your mindset, and decide your identity. Day number 6 is the family connection day. Block an hour, no phone, no distractions. Block an hour for full presence with your family. Ask each member, what made you smile today? And then day number 7 is reflection and commitment. You could journal, what did I learn this week? What's one habit I'm committing to for the next 30 days? A great family practice to get into is sharing what are the highs, what are the lows, and what are the lessons that you learned this week. And then ask yourself, what's a habit that you can commit to for the next 30 days? And that's it. 7 days. It's simple, it's actionable, and it will change your life. Let me leave you with this. 20 years from now, your kids won't remember your revenue, your ROI. They won't remember how many clients you had or how many deals you closed. They will remember how you showed up in the valley. They will remember if you stayed humble on the mountain. And they will remember if you were present or just busy. And the legacy question I want you to ask yourself is, when my kids talk about me, what will they say? Will they say my dad was always stressed, always distracted, always chasing the next thing? Or will they say my dad taught me that change is part of life and he showed me how to lead through it with gratitude and humility? Because that's what it means to be a boss dad. You're not just building a business, you're building a legacy. And legacy is written in how you navigate the seasons. So here's my challenge to you. Master the seasons. Practice gratitude in the valley, practice humility on the mountain, and watch your life and your family transform. And if you made it this far, you're serious about winning at business and winning at life. So let me give you the next step. I've created a 5-day Boss Dad challenge where I walk you through the exact system I use to lead in the systems at work and at home. Each day, you'll get a separate part of the framework, balanced owner, strategic shepherd, and day 5 wraps up with a powerful way to bring them all together. You'll have daily action steps to build the habits. You'll have an access to a community of dads who are committed to the same mission. If I'm speaking to you, go to beabossdad.com and sign up for the next 5-day challenge. Here's what I'd like you to do right now. Comment below. You can tell me, are you in the valley or are you in the mountain right now? And which practice are you committing to this week? Then share this video with one dad who needs to hear this message. Subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Until next time, win at business, win at life, be a boss dad.